All right, so now we're testing the mic. Hey guys, we're about to go live. If you're tuning in, we are counting down to going live. Sorry, we're a little bit behind. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty on audio. So we're just testing the audio now. It's just going to be a minute before we go live, guys. What is up, guys? What's up? What's up? This is Fission here with ModCrash. We are bringing you another episode of ModCrash Live. Last time we did our live build, step by step, on basically, being able for anybody, whether you're a newcomer to PC building or super try-hard, die-hard fan of PC building. It was definitely a, worth episode to check out. It was our first of hopefully many. This is our second live edition. We are planning to do a 3-time-a-week schedule. We will be putting up all the information in our Twitch and YouTube, and then also on our site as well. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop a follow on Twitch. Make sure you drop a subscribe on YouTube, and then of course come check out us at modcrash.com. The biggest thing today that we are coming at is this baby right here. This is the EVGA new audio sound card. Now this bad boy is amazing. I haven't checked it out fully yet. I've only opened it, but I will be doing a live unboxing. We are going to go over all of it. I'm even going to open up the sound card. We're going to take a look inside the guts. And then we're going to set it up in our gaming PC build we did, and we're going to test it out. One of the things I've got a couple sets of headsets we're going to do. This right here is an Audio Technica MX50 headset. This is a pretty high quality audio headset, and it should work perfectly with the EVGA new audio sound card. The next one that we're going to try it with is a Turtle Beach Atlas Elite gaming headset. This is also a pretty high-end sound card. It has a built-in sound card with it. So we're going to see how it pairs with the EVGA new audio sound card as well. And then another one that we're going to unbox today is our Turtle Beach Elite Pro 2 with a super amp gaming headset. This is the Xbox edition. It also works on Windows 10. So that should be pretty interesting to test out with the sound card as well. But after that, we're just going to do an unboxing of the EVGA ACX Active Cooling Extreme CPU Cooler. And we're going to unbox our Gigabyte Z390 ORS Ultra gaming motherboard. Now this is pretty cool. I did a little bench on it, but I wanted to unbox it in front of you guys so you could see. It has built-in RGB lighting that actually pairs with a lot of RAM out there, and of course with the Gigabyte Fusion as well, RGB. So let's go ahead, let's get started. So I don't know how we're doing there with the viewers yet. I haven't seen anybody chat. With the chat, we've got our mods here. We've got Clank and we've got Animoxia. They're going to be, answering anything that they can in chat, and we'll also be speaking to them, back and forth, so you might hear them as well. How you guys doing?
Not too bad.
All right, awesome. So let's get this stuff out the way. Now, one thing I did want to mention, guys, we are doing a giveaway. The giveaway that we're going to be doing is for this EVGA new audio sound card. Okay, once we reach 100 followers on Twitch, we're going to go ahead and give this bad boy away. Now, the way that it will work, it's going to be 100 total followers between either ModCrash PC and Mr. Fission, which is my stream right there. And I believe that we've got the labels coming up, and I don't know if it's. I think I'm going to have to fix that real quick, guys. There should be the labels coming up also as well for the Twitch and the. All right, it's not, but you guys, you'll be able to throw it in chat. So again, follow me at Mr. Fission on Twitch, and follow ModCrash. So when we get a total of 50 or 100 100 followers, it could be either on Twitch, on my Twitch, or on ModCrash Twitch. Doesn't matter. 100 followers, we're going to give this bad boy away. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is unbox this. One thing I did want to say is I meant to Google it earlier. I didn't check it out, but if you look here on the box, okay, and then let's go ahead. Let's put it on the top here as well. So if you look here on the box, and we'll put it like that actually. On the box right here, we've got new audio, EVGA, the audio card upright, but then right here we got the sticker, and it's upside down. I don't know if it's meant to be this way or if it's like a typo, a mess up, whatever. I really don't know. So, I'm just going to go ahead and open this up, and then we'll go, take a look at it and see, what's inside. Now, one thing about it is the box is actually pretty cool. I don't know if you guys are into boxes, but the design on the box is pretty cool. And then let's actually go over what they say in the specs on the box as well. So right here, in the specs, it's talking about that it has a premium DAC AK4493 dynamic range equaling through 123 decibels, and then it's got a THD of 113 negative decibels. So then it's got a premium ADC at AK5572 dynamic range of 121 decibels and a THD plus N of negative 112 decibels. Shielding cover with the reducing the EMI, so that any type of static or sound interference that might happen, electrical discharge. And then this is paired with Audio Note. Now, Audio Note is a company out in the UK that has some pretty interesting proprietary stuff when it comes to audio stuff. They've been around for a while. They do all kinds of musical stuff, and they paired with EVGA to get this card out to you guys. It's got an optical output, which can fit up to a 5.1 channel audio. Now, it's debatable right now if we can do more than that. I know there's some people out there that are trying to fit it in, like EVGA. Peter, he's trying to do his 9.1 audio sound with it. We'll see if that works. And then it features a line out, headphone out, line in, mic in, optical out, and then this is a PCI by 1 second generation interface. And it plays back up to 384 kilohertz at 32-bit, and recording up to 384 kilohertz at 32-bit for line in, and up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit for mic in. So that's what the specs are here on the box. So we're going to go back over here to this now, and hopefully you guys can get a good view of both the above and front views. If you guys have any trouble seeing, you know, shout it out to me, let me know, and then I'll try to fix that for you. So coming right in, we've got our sound card. Now this is really cool. It's pretty heavy for a sound card. I mean, if you've before messed with, like, you know, Creative X5 series, or, you know, maybe the Fatality Edition, you know, the Fatality Extreme Edition, whatever, that was a big card. But this here is a beast. Now, a lot of it's probably the heat shielding. I don't know yet until we take it off that we'll be able to see. But the card is a pretty sturdy build. And if you look at the circuitry is pretty clean. If ever anything blows, one thing we are going to try, I forgot to mention, is we're going to try to overclock this. We were talking about it in chat through EVGA, and theoretically it's possible, but we will see. So if anything blows, it should be pretty easy to check because the circuitry is really clean on this. So, you know, we'll take that. We've got. Now, guys, I am working on anti-static mat. If you guys are doing anything like this, try to stick it on something that it won't fry the circuitry. Now, in here, we've got a few things. We've got a 3.5 millimeter jack to 1/4 inch. Then we've got our audios that we could plug in a single, like RCA jack, into a dual RCA jack right here. Just a splitter. And okay, now this right here, this is pretty heavy foam, pretty sturdy. So just to give you an idea, if you heard that, I don't know if it was too loud for you guys. So let's put this stuff away. Let's see what we've got in our paper. So here, okay, we've got just a little bit about the op-amp rolling. So a great feature of the new EVGA new audio card is the capability for future upgrades and modification by swapping out amps, sometimes referred to op-amp rolling. For this, we have provided 2 sockets, and that is the U613 and U564, as shown in plain view. So that's pretty cool. So when we take this apart, we'll be able to see that. So later on upgrades, we'll be able to even upgrade this audio card. So one thing I didn't mention, it does have RGB lighting. RGB lighting should be coming from here, and I think it's also coming from right here. I haven't tested it out yet, but we will see. So then, you know, more, we've got, you know, the EQ menu, just telling you a little bit about, like, the features, controlling RGB lighting on it. And then here, I think this is our little quick start guide. And it is. Here's our little quick start guide. So here, this uses SATA power. And what they were saying is the reason that they're using a SATA power is because it's a little bit cleaner than if they were going to use a Molex series, I guess, which makes perfectly good sense. And then also it's got a part in here where you connect your front panel to the EVGA. So instead of connecting your front panel to your motherboard, you're going to connect it into the sound card now, which makes perfect sense as well. So we'll get these out of here. We might use this a little bit later to check out about the audio. Keep these out. I do have my Audio Technicas. They do come with a 1/4 inch jack, so I won't be using the EVGAs. Well, actually I might for the Turtle Beach, because that's a screw-on. It fits perfectly well with the Audio Technicas. So get this out of the way. And I think now what we're going to do is just basically, we're going to come here on the top, and let me zoom this in for you guys a little bit so you could see a little bit better on what we were doing. I don't know, how is that, guys? Can you see it okay, or do you need it a little bit more?
Not bad here.
All right, let's just zoom in a little bit more. Okay. All right, so my trusted toolkit here. Now, guys, the team's going to be throwing up links in the chat. These links go to Amazon products, and if you purchase through our links, we do get a little bit kickback. So if you guys like the card, you want to help support the stream, you can go ahead and purchase directly through those links, and then we'll be very, very thankful, of course. So I've got my trusted toolkit. It's a Rosewell computer toolkit. I basically use this for everything, and I do have other toolkits, and other tools, of course, but I like using this here because this is for PC building, this is pretty much everything you need. It even comes with like a little solder gun. So if you just need a little bit of soldering without needing a full solder station, it's perfect. So as we were reading, if you're just tuning into the stream now, as we were reading, this card is upgradable. So later on, when they introduce new chips, you'll be able to swap them out and then have it from there. Now, I was thinking about how I can really do a great review for you guys to see, how this works, and I was thinking about hooking it up to my oscilloscope. The problem is, a lot of you might not know what an oscilloscope is, and that's the last thing I want to do is pull something out that you guys take a look at and like, what the hell is that? Basically what an oscilloscope is, it helps you read waves to tell you what kind of frequencies you're running at. And alright, we got another screw here somewhere, holding on, right here. Now, if you do something like this, guys, make sure you discharge any static electricity from yourself, because the last thing you'd want to do is basically kill your card. Alright, so it's going to make me take off these two here as well. I don't mind. This is all for the content. So, actually from this side. Now, if you guys take apart something like this, make sure that you have. Oh, see, it shouldn't have made me take it off because. All right. Now I feel much better. Let me go ahead and unplug this. This is our connector here for the pin. So now I can actually bring this screw back in. All right, So now looking here, you can see this is a very clean card. Now a lot of the stuff, we've got the XMOS chip here. Now a lot of the stuff that you see here is pretty, like, I guess you can say, an advance in audio. This is what Audio Note from UK is known for. This is what their stuff is doing. Now you can see, of course you've got your standard transistors and capacitors on there, but you've got some pretty large chips that are in there, and that's all what's pretty much controlling your audio. Now it said, let me look back at this now. Okay, so alright, so it's not a very detailed diagram, but it's this one here and this one here that are going to be replaceable. You can upgrade, and later on, basically you would just, if you know anything about, electronics, computer electronics, soldering, whichever, basically you just clean remove from this side the solder, pull your chip out, replace it, and then put it in. Now I don't know if this is something that EVGA is a service that EVGA is going to be providing, or if it's going to be more of a DIY instance. If it is going to be a DIY instance, I would definitely make a video for you guys so you can check it out and see how it goes. Now one thing I could say, taking apart, the front header pins, they're not protected once you take the covering off. So be careful with that if you take it off. And they're right here. They are not protected at all. So they're very easy to bend. If you bend them, then you should try to fix it without breaking. Now here's the rule of thumb. If you bend something, go slowly, because it's always easier to bend it a little bit more back in place than to bend it too far and try to bend it back, because that's when you could possibly break something. Now it's got a nice little big heat sink right here to, of course, dissipate heat. But all in all, pretty good circuitry. Real clean. Definitely real clean. So we are going to put this back together now, and we will end up testing it in a little bit. Once we finish doing this, we'll actually plug it in to our gaming PC that we had built, and then we'll start setting it up and testing the audio. And the reason that it was sticking, if anybody else runs into that instance, the reason it was sticking is because there's a little bit of the clear film right here that's really satisfying to remove. It was actually sticking right onto that heat sink, so it was giving me a little bit of a problem coming off. But because when you're doing this, you don't want to just pull something off and break it. So this is a little front cover here that goes back on. All your screws are lined up. Now we do have a couple screws that are bigger than others, one that is longer, two that are longer, and those two that are longer are probably going to go good learning lesson for you guys. If you see different size screws, know where they go, but I have an idea where they go. They're going to go right here. All right. So did we get anybody in chat yet? Or are we still like pretty low on the flow there? I know, right? That Toby guy. So, you know what? We were talking and we were wondering, what's the deal between Chris and Toby?
I mean, are we looking at a me, myself, and Irene situation here?
We lost him. We didn't mean to hurt your feelings, buddy. Come back.
Keeps things simple.
All right, so now that I got that back together, and I was, right, those screws did go there. Now, if you've been doing this as long as I have, it kind of comes second nature. But if you're just starting out and you want to see the insides of something, just make sure you keep note, and that was no pun intended, of where the screws go. Otherwise, you could be like wondering or ending up with a couple of extras that you think is okay to have. I remember my first car. It was a Chevy Blazer, an old school Chevy Blazer, and I had lowered it and kind of like tricked it out and everything like this. And one time, this is when they had timing chains. My timing chain went out, so I ended up taking out the whole front of the engine. I'm a DIY guy. I like to do everything myself. But when I took it apart, I put it back together, and I had a whole bunch of extra bolts laying around. And everything still ran fine. I think I got lucky, but it could have been a bad situation. I could have been driving down the highway, and then all of a sudden, something horribly wrong happened. All right. So here we go. And let me I'm going to put it like this, kind of at an angle for you guys to see. Be a little bit easier for me to do. Now, this is the NZXT H500. This is not the I version. This is the standard version. The difference between the standard version and the I version is just basically that the I version comes with a fan and lighting controller. So if you're planning to do RGB, you would either have to get the Hue 2 kit, which is what we had put in. This is the standard version, and we put the Hue 2 kit in, or you would put you get the I'm trying to chew gum and walk at the same time. Or you would basically put in the H500i version, and then it would come included with it. And then you would put in your fans or whatever. But if you're doing the RGB, basically just get the standard H500 version, and then throw in the Hue 2 like we did here, and then go ahead and purchase a couple of extra fans. Now the fans on here, the way that'll work, you could put two 140s in front, two 120s. Here we have the EVGA CLX cooler 240, and then on the top you can fit a 120 or 140 millimeter fan. In the back you have a 120 millimeter fan. You can replace those with RGB if you want, or you can just basically keep it as is, I guess you can say, or whichever. But it is a nice case. It's a very, very good case. All right, so it's a PCI 1 slot. I am going to throw it in. You know what? Maybe I'm actually going to change that up. I was going to put it directly under the GPU, but I changed my mind. I'm going to go ahead and put it in second PCI 16 slot. Simply because it'll give a little bit more breathing room. And if this card runs hot, like I think, it's going to add more heat in the case, and it'll just give my GPU a chance to dissipate more heat. All right. This is a big sound card. So now a lot of people are debating, do I really need a sound card? Well, that's one of the reasons we're going to test it out right now. That's one of the reasons we're doing this review of it. And if you want to know how we're going to test with the audio, it's pretty simple. We are going to throw this in. We're going to do a music test. We're going to do a game test. And we are also going to take it a little bit further. I'm probably going to pull out a MIDI and then try to run some sounds on it off the MIDI. But one of the biggest things is this offers lifelike sound, from what they say. So lifelike sound is probably going to be a huge selling point for a lot of people, because when you're playing games, if you want to hear those front footsteps or those side footsteps coming in, this is going to make it a little bit easier for you guys to do. So you'll hear some more great sounds. And now normally, and I should have brought it out as I have the box that I put the side panels in, but I had the box and I was a little bit lazy to get it. So I'm just going to put these down here carefully, because the H500 does come with tempered glass side panel, so don't want to do anything stupid with that. So now the way that the board we have in here is the EVGA Z390 FTW motherboard. And it was if you saw our first episode of ModCrash Live, you would have seen how we ran into kind of like a big hiccup on our first part. It ended up being a multi-part series because of that hiccup. And that was because when we were testing it out before installing it, the board kind of blew up on us. And it wasn't like really like a blow up, but what happened, we were using a Corsair H100i Pro cooler on it. And what happened is all of a sudden you see a little flume of smoke pop up. And once that smoke popped up, everything cut off for a second. All the RGB cut off, everything just stopped. And then all of a sudden another big flame popped out, smoke went everywhere. And that exactly ended up being like one of the reasons why you test your motherboard before installing it, or most of your hardware. Reason being, you don't want to get all the way done and then something like that happen and then you have to take it all apart. But we ended up getting everything running that day. We had some more issues with like the Z390 FTW actually has an issue with volting when you first fire it up, and that's like the initial BIOS version 1.01. And what you have to do is you basically have to overclock your motherboard a little bit, and not just use like the standard overclocking. You have to, and I'll do better cable management later, but I just wanted to get this cable in there. So we're running in our front panel headers directly out of the sound card now. Now we need a SATA cable to power this puppy. And we do have a SATA cable here that I can go ahead and use as well, that we are powering our hard drive with. I just need to take off the zip ties that we did for cable management. And then hopefully this will be long enough to reach, because otherwise I'll have to break out another cable. And I'm going to have to break out another cable. It's alright. I'll just zip tie that up again later. Now EVGA was kind enough to send us out both the 850G3 Supernova PSU along with the white cable kit. So that's why we have white cabling in here. Looks a lot nicer than the standard black cables. So here, pulling out new SATA cable that will plug into our power supply unit. And then from the power supply unit, we're going to go directly into our sound card. And then we'll be able to fire this bad boy up. So how's the music? Is the music still good, or is it?
I'm actually not hearing the music at the moment.
You're not. Let me see what's going on. Yep, it's there. It's there. You should hear it. Do you have the stream muted?
No, it's just a little subtle. I can hear it now.
All right. Now I will later on do a little bit of better cable management, but this is just so we can test it out. Now normally SATA cables have like a little L shape, and normally it would go the long way, and the L shape would, that little L cutoff would face down. Here it's actually facing up, so keep that in mind when you're putting this together. If you notice that it's not fitting in, don't force it. If you've been a PC builder for a while, it's a good habit. You know that, hey, we know that it goes down. It's a little bit different here. I've never actually seen a connection where it would actually go up. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I've built a lot of PCs, a lot of PCs. I've also destroyed a lot of PCs as well. But I have never seen one that actually went upwards. So, all right, so now just going to fire it up and then see what we're dealing with here. I'm not putting, notice I didn't put my side panels back on. One reason that you don't put your side panels on is because if it doesn't fire up, it's easier for you to check it out. All right, so firing up. Let's see what's going on here. All right, we've got power. Everything looks good. We're getting a post error, and that's probably because it's a new device that it doesn't recognize. Which is okay, no problems with that. So now I'm basically going to run this in to our streaming PC. And let's see. Let me see if I can add the source in without having to stop. Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right. Put the internet on. And I'm using Synergy. Let me see if it, there we go. All right, this is going to be tricky to do. You know what? Let me do one thing here, and give me a second. I'm going to Alright, just had to grab a mouse that I'll be able to do this from without running into any issues. And because what I'm seeing right now, I don't have a direct monitor hooked up to this. I'm seeing basically a miniaturized version of what you guys are seeing right now, and trying to connect to a KVM, which was not working. All right. What? Yes, they are. You know why? I think I need to restart it. This is funny. But while we're getting this going here, I'm going to talk a little bit about this build a little bit more. The build, it ended up being a 3-part series. And once we got past the first obstacle of the H100i burning up, the motherboard having an issue, the build went great. We started up, got it going, and I was like, all right, cool. So I was going to call it a night, when we did it, but we decided, hey, let's go ahead and install Windows, and then let's see what happens at that point. And then it was just basically like All right, sorry, it's not working. We're not going to be able to get you up and running today. So we spent a good hour trying to figure out what was going on, and it was just a mess. You know what? I'm going to just use my pin and call it a day. So, all right, so we've got this going on here, and we're going to basically want to install the drivers for EVGA new audio. So go to evga.com, then go to service, and then drivers and BIOS. Okay, other products. Choose our category, audio card, all, and then let's get that driver. All right, so, okay, so instead of doing a one driver fits all OS system for Windows, they've got a Windows 10, a Windows 8, and Windows 7. So of course we're on Windows 10. We're going to go ahead and get that. Keep it. All right, so run it. Default directory is okay unless you've got some sort of complicated setup where you have like maybe an Intel Optane drive that's basically where you're just storing your OS, and then you've got like all your programs. Okay, it wants me to update the card. Now, when it was doing that, I heard like clicking coming from the audio card. I don't know what that was, but all right, so all right, again guys, I'm looking at this in a miniature version of what you guys are seeing. So open up my new audio card. Oh, I've got, all right. So here we go. Now the audio we've got going here is our output, input, then we've got our LED, rainbow. Now I wonder if it's matching, let me knock my speed up. I wonder if it's matching with the CLC cooler. It is not synced with it. Now I don't know if there's an option in here to sync it. We can go to our setup. All right. Well, doesn't look like there's any place to sync it. All right, so here we go. Our output, speakers, input, microphone. And this is basically where we'll go ahead and test our audio. I think the best way to do this would be with their sounds that they have. Okay, so let's go to news. Go home to their home page. They actually have some sounds that you can actually listen to. Alright, so here we go. Download the audio differences. It's going to make me register it. Alright, we're not going to do that now because I don't want you guys to see this. We're not going to go through all that. Let's go to this. So let's go to THX sound test. And I'm going to just basically throw on some headphones now. Now the first headphones I'm going to try it with are going to be... Now, if I play it for you guys where you hear it, you're not really going to notice anything different because, of course, you're not listening to the sound. But I'll notice the difference. Okay, so we've got our headphone out, so you actually, it appears you have to use the 1/4" jack with it for your headphones. So just plug that in, plug it into the sound, unless you're going to listen to from your front panels, and I will test that out as well. So let me see how it sounds. Alright, so with the, right now what I'm using is the Turtle Beach Atlas Elite gaming headset. Alright, so the sound is real crisp, bassy, even in the Atlas Elites. It's got a real good sound. Okay, that was the 5.1 test. Can you guys hear that? Can you hear? Is it coming through the audio? Anamoxia, clank. Either one of you?
Actually, I had Twitch muted for a moment. I was testing something, so sorry I can't answer that. Actually.
Do you hear it coming through now at all?
It's subtle in the background.
All right. All right, so that's good for that. I'm going to now test the Audio-Technica MX50s. Now these are made for music. These are made for sound. Guys, this is amazing. This is actually really, really good. What's that? This is actually really good. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to put this a little bit more to a test. And let's do this. Bring this over here and then so the sound through the Audio-Technica MX50s was a lot more clear. Through the Turtle Beach Atlas Elite was a lot more bassy. But both of them did phenomenal sound through the EVGA new audio card. I was actually really, I was more than surprised with it. I thought it was going to be, just average. But the sound's actually really clear, really good, crisp. Now, dude, I'm telling you, so no. So the sound is amazing. We'll go and test it through gameplay. And one thing I didn't, we're also going to check later, is also how it sounds with Windows Sonic and Dolby Atmos. Oh, really? It's going to make me do that? Start the game through the... Sorry, not going to do that. All right, we're not going to do gameplay right now with that. But the sound was real crisp, real clear. Now, I can honestly say, without even having to test further, I'm going to do some tests on the oscilloscope so I can get some frequencies and stuff like that. But I can honestly say, if you're looking for a competitive edge in sound, or even something, to get a little bit more of a better sound to watch movies, listen to music from your PC, definitely the EVGA new audio sound card is a must-have. This card is amazing. Just the sound alone. I don't know if you were watching when I put the Audio-Technica headset on, but it actually made me grin a little bit. I was like, holy shit. But that should explain a lot there. I just cussed on stream. Sorry about that. But it's really crisp, really clear. The card looks extremely sexy, fits right in with the rig. The only thing I do not like, this is my only gripe, is, let me go ahead and get rid of this here now. The only gripe I have is right here, your front panel header coming out right from the side of this card. Now, if you're not going to use your front panel headers, if you're not going to use these up here at all, you don't need it. But if you are, it's right here, it's ugly. It does not fit. They should have figured out how to put it over here so it runs right along with the SATA cable, because running right out the side of your card is not a pretty sight. That's the only gripe I have about the card. But from ModCrash test so far, I'd give it definitely an Editor's Choice Award. This is definitely something to grab. I have no complaints with it. I have absolutely no complaints with it. So I will test that later on, guys. It'll go through more of an extensive test. I was going to put it really through the ringer, but it's taken a little bit longer to go over that than I wanted to over a live review. So basically, for the review, live, the card looks great. It's built really well. The aesthetics are amazing. And the initial sound test from just the headset of a Turtle Beach Atlas Elite and an Audio-Technica MX50 it's amazing. Now, they are saying, EVGA did say, they made a statement that said, on a lower end headset, you might not really notice a difference. You might not notice a really beneficial, beneficial gain from that. Because of course, I mean, if you want quality sound, your sound is only going to be as good as your weakest link. And if your weakest link is your headset, then that's what it's going to be. But if you've got a good headset, good speakers, or anything like that, and you want that competitive edge, definitely. Now, I am going to test it on some other headsets. I have, a few more around. I didn't want to go digging through them because I thought that'd be sufficient enough test. Almost broke that glass. I thought that'd be a sufficient enough test to just run it right from the beginning. And again, guys, using a pair of Atlas Elite, the sound was a little bit more bassy. It did sound good. I didn't have any issues with it. It did sound good. But with the Audio-Technica MX50s, they're meant more for sound, more for music production, DJing. It was more clear, more crisp. Really, really sounded good. Yes, it is an audiophile sound card, 100%. The dynamics in it are much more than what your average music listener or your average user would understand. So it goes pretty deep in it. So now the next thing I want to go over, guys, and we're going to go through these unboxings pretty quick because I did want to go through a little bit of a QA session today. And we still have this to unbox, the Aorus Z390 Ultra from Gigabyte, and we also have the Turtle Beach Elite Pro 2 with the Super Amp and our EVGA ACX Active Cooling Extreme CPU cooler that we wanted to unbox. We aren't going to be testing these. These are just unboxings and initial live reviews of them, what we think about it. So the box on this, I always liked the Gigabyte boxes. They were pretty well designed. They have a good designer on their staff that's doing the box designs. So opening up here, we've got our motherboard that's fitting right in to a slotted build. And then, let me actually get this toolkit out of the way, guys. Sorry about that. Working a little messy right here. Clean as you go. Clean as you go. Now, for those of you, if you're just popping in, this stream today, it was mainly to do a live review of the EVGA new audio sound card. For the rest, we're just unboxing the Gigabyte Z390 Aorus Ultra. I was going to say Elite, but it's the Ultra. So now, here we've got a bunch of different stickers that you can put either on your case badge, on your case. Here you've got cable stickers that you'll put around your cable so you can know which points whichever. And you've got a bunch of different other neat stickers there. So if you're a sticker person, that's actually pretty cool. On the back of my Surface, I've got tons of stickers. Got a guide. Now, one thing that I can say that EVGA does now is they actually provide a little USB flash key for the drivers and a BIOS recovery. But Gigabyte has decided to continue to use optical discs. Why? I don't know. Most cases now, most PCs don't even have an optical drive, so you're going to have to go directly to Gigabyte's site to get the drivers if you have something that needs USB drivers. You got a quick installation guide. And then under this panel here, we've got all of our different panels. Now the Z390 Ultra from Gigabyte, this is a wireless drive. So you have your wireless adapter, you have your cables, your extensions, and just different things here. And then of course a case badge. So all your cables, accessories are right there under the board. So we'll put those back. We really don't need those. Those are pretty standard with any motherboard that you get. They're all going to be the same. Put these back and put our stickers back. And let's go over the motherboard right now itself. Now again, guys, I am working on a ModRite large anti-static mat. So I'm not really worried about any type of static happening that could kill any of my components. And I did discharge any static electricity from myself first. But if not, if you guys don't have an anti-static mat, or if you're not going, if you're using something like this, get yourself one of these, and the spiral cord is taken over. So this is an anti-static wrist mat. Okay, this would basically ground it on some sort of metal, put it on your wrist, and it'll discharge static from you. Those are like, I think, what, like $5 on Amazon? So, opening the motherboard now. It's inside an ESD protected mat, static protected. So I'm going to put it directly on the motherboard. You don't have to worry about, or directly on the motherboard box. You don't have to worry about cardboard here. Now, I did already bench this. I'm going to put up results later on. So I did peel all the heat shielding, but again, you have, coming over here, protects all your little light up phase. You have your RGB settings, RGB over here, RGB over here. Then you've got little LED lighting as well that goes deep in here. Now, over here you've got your LED panel that will give you all your postcodes, temperatures, and whichever else you want to set in here. Now over here, your front panel connectors. The H500 that we basically had, it was the first case that I saw that actually came with the F panel front panel connector cable. That basically you're just one thing instead of all these other cables like the HDD, your power button, your reset button, and then you just basically would put it right in there. You got your fan headers right over here. You got two USB pads. You got a COM section right here, and then you've got your front audio panels connectors here. Now over here you've got an LED connection import, and I guess this is where you basically connect it with RGB Fusion for all of your RGB other accessories that you can go ahead and pair with the motherboard itself. Now this is dual channel DDR4 memory, and channel 1, channel 2, and then you've got your 24-pin connector here, a USB 3.0 connector here, facing out here, and you do have a USB input device here that you basically be able to put in a little thumb drive or whichever. So they have the idea of putting in that little thumbstick for the drivers. Just, I didn't see it. I don't know if maybe it did come with it and I didn't see it. Maybe it didn't come with the board that we have here. But either which way, that's where you basically would stick it in there. Now, over here, we've actually got our 8-pin CPU connector with an additional 4-pin. So if you're going to overclock, you basically want to fit in all those there. And I'm a little bit out of view from you, sorry guys. And then you've got another fan header here. Now this is a gripe I have with motherboard manufacturers. They put these huge heat shields on right over here, which are needed. We all know that they need them. But then you're going to sit there, and once you have your case, once you have your motherboard inside your case, you've got limited room once you put your power pin connectors in over here. Then they've got the little fan header here, so if you do connect the fan in there, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get to. So you'd have to plug that in before you plug those out. But it's a real tight fit there. And if you're somebody like me that's got somewhat big hands, that's a real pain in the butt there. Over here, you've got your CPU fan out, your first one and your second one, your optional. So other than that, the board's really good looking, very spacious. For all of your M.2 drives, it's got a little bit of a metal shielding that goes over, and then under the shielding it does have, let me go ahead and show you guys, it does come with thermal pads pre-applied to there. I'm not a 100% for thermal pads on M.2 drives, but if you are, what I would basically do, me personally, is I wouldn't even use the heat shielding on it. But here is the thermal pad that's pre-applied to this. And now I just got to find the little tiny screw. It slipped off for me. All right. So this is another reason why you would install your components before you go in, because it's a lot easier to get out a little screw that goes missing versus having to go in later on and try to flip the case upside down. So the board's great. Gigabyte uses RGB fusion technology, not to be mixed up with fission, because that's me. All right, so again, we went. The main purpose of the stream was to go over the EVGA new audio sound card. We did a live unboxing, review, and setup of the card. We're going to put up an article on ModCrash about it. Later on, we'll have pictures and everything else. And also, when we hit 100 followers on Twitch, and it could either be a combination of both between Mr. Fission and ModCrash PC, or one of the other, we'll be giving away that EVGA new audio sound card. The card is amazing, so just a heads up. I mean, if you haven't followed yet, make sure to hit that follow button so you can become eligible for the giveaway. All right, so that is the Gigabyte Z390 Aorus Ultra. Next unboxing we have is the EVGA ACX Active Cooling Extreme CPU cooler. And let me actually now, I'm a big fan of water cooling, and one thing that I was constantly running into, because I have tons of water cooling stuff around, all-in-one coolers, everything else, but what happens is each time I put something else on the test bench, now with Intel and their all great wisdom, they really don't ship out their CPUs with coolers anymore. So you have to use your own. It's bring your own cooler, BYOC. And I would constantly be using different water coolers, and I couldn't really get an accurate read on what something is on air. So I asked EVGA to send this out. I wanted to do a review on it and also use it for all of our test benching purposes. Now, upon opening it, the first thing we see is this box here. This box, I believe it has our back plates and screws and every other component that we would need to mount this. Okay, so we've got our screws. It comes with thermal paste. So the thermal paste is not pre-applied on there, not that I can think of. So we've got our back plates, mounting brackets for both AMD and Intel. We've got all of our posts and screws that we basically mount down onto the CPU. We've got our instruction guide. And then here is the cooler. Now this thing is monstrous. If any of you have been familiar with air coolers, they've gone from small to extremely large. This is up there. This is I would say this is just as big, if not a little bit smaller, than Noctua cooler. So it does not come with pre-applied thermal paste. Has a sticker over here that says remove before you use it. So you do have your piping there. So everything is painted like a real dark black. And then you've got your copper, and it looks like maybe nickel. That might be aluminum. I don't know. I have to look at it. But the cooler itself is pretty well constructed. I think everything here looks real good, real cool. And again, no pun intended. Seriously. So put this down in here, and that is going to be used for all of our test benching later on. Then, all right, so all right, so to get this back on is proving to be a little tricky. All right, so put this back in the box. Now, initial view, until I can actually test this, guys, I'm not going to put a full review on it. This is just an unboxing. My initial thoughts is this is going to actually perform really well for air, which is exactly what I want. So the installation, now one thing, if you're somebody who is brand new to PC building, haven't done it a lot, then one thing that you gotta, think of, like the first time that you do something, like for example, install a cooler like this, might be a little bit complicated. You might run into a couple snags based off of like fittings and actually setting on the back plates. But once you do it the first time, it's just cake after that. So the next one right here, okay, what I asked Turtle Beach to send me out the super amp. I just wanted to test the super amp because they sent this here. They are one of the sponsors for our PC build that we did last episode of ModCrash Live. They sent out the Turtle Beach Atlas Elite. Now, while testing it, it's a higher end headset that they have now. It's not overly expensive, but compared to their other headsets they used to ship out with a super amp or a mix amp. They didn't. This one didn't come with it. So I asked Turtle Beach, send me a super amp so I can test it without, so we can see how it is. So I did test. I put the review up on ModCrash for the Atlas Elites, and they're absolutely right. You really don't need it. As long as you're using Windows Sonic or Dolby Atmos, you really, really don't need it. So when you first open it, and we've got our view there and our view here, the foam is really good, really snug. You open it up, you've got your mix amp sitting right there on top. Now the mix amp, it's a really good quality. Okay, you've got your headphone out, you've got a USB import, and you've got your another output right over here. You can go ahead and set your volumes, whichever you need, and just different turnables, and you can also use for your phone, and it's compatible with iOS or Android. Um, the headsets themselves, they are a more of a traditional Turtle Beach feel. They look, exactly like the Atlas series. They have the removable side panel over here. Now the removable side panels, it makes it a little bit easier to customize. They look real good. This is the Xbox edition. As far as fitting, they have a new technology. Somebody like me who wears glasses, fits right over, doesn't hurt, doesn't push my glasses in, and it fits real nice and snug with it. So these headsets are actually really good quality, and they feel, compared to these, they feel a little bit heavier. And they've got a little bit, the bands look almost the same, but they feel heavier. Sound-wise, I think the Atlas Elite sound a little bit better, but if you're an Xbox gamer or a PC gamer that wants to be able to move his headsets from console to PC, vice versa, whichever, definitely I suggest getting these. I believe it's $249 on Amazon right now. With the mix amp and the headset, that's actually a really good price. You can get it shipped out. If you're a Prime member, 2-day shipping, free, whatever. But they are really good. Yeah, the Pro specs are really, really nice. That's the technology. It's really comfortable. I'm happy with Turtle. A lot of people, they complain about Turtle Beach. I'll tell you this. I've had Turtle Beach headsets for a while now. I've been using Turtle Beach since Air Force Z7s. And I've never had problems. I actually switched out my Air Force Z7s with the Atlas Elites. And I've also used, my Audio Technicas and everything else. When it comes to gaming, some people, they swear, against Turtle Beach, but we gave it our Editor's Choice Award. These are nice headsets. They're not too expensive, but hey, the sound is great, quality is great, mic is good, everything. So definitely it is a must-have. So that is, pretty much our, unboxings and our review of this. Now, one thing that I was going to do is I was going to actually do a gaming stream. And we could do that, but we'd have to end the stream here for a minute because I'm going to have to change a couple of things because I have everything set up for our live production right now. Well, I might be able to do it. I might be able to get this set up, but we'll have to end the stream for a minute and then come back on. When we game, though,
Yes.
What's that?
I vote yes.
Okay, we can definitely game. So we'll end the stream. We'll come back in a little bit. I'll get everything set back up for the game, and we'll have some fun gaming. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review of the EVGA new audio. Links for all the products we've talked about have been thrown up in chat, and while we're gaming, we'll be throwing up in the chat as well. If you decide that you want to purchase one of these items, go ahead and purchase it through our links. We get a kickback from it, and it'll help us keep the stream going and help us keep everything going. So we had a lot of fun. We'll come back in a few minutes, and we will get everything going for you.